Well, so it's been a while. This place has been home for quite a while. I want to take you back to when you first started, when little Laura Vining came into these doors. What is your earliest memory of coming into this studio?
Well, first of all, it was the building across the way.
It was, okay.
Yes, a tinier studio. I was 14 years old. I remember that I came with my dad. I remember that Laura was wearing this sort of long granny dress, almost like a little girl's nightie.
Yeah.
Because she was in a commune, a cult with Buck. Buck was the one who ran this whole thing, and the story was that Leslie and Rick had to save me from that situation. Because the story of Laura is that she was bounced between two homes because the babies were switched at birth.
Right.
That's Laura.
Yes.
So
Amy.
Yeah. So by the age of about 14, she ran from home and ran into this cult.
Wow. And so many things have happened to Laura over the years. Who would you say Laura is in 2018? What kind of woman is she now?
Right now, I'd say she's a survivor. She'd be incredibly strong. She wouldn't be taking any crap. I also think with the amount of things that she's been through, that she would have very good gut instincts, especially from the time with Luke. And, she'd be hyper aware of things, which has been hard with this new story to make that, see it but not see it. But that's the love. That's, love is blind.
Well, there's two huge things going on. I mean, one part of her life is in shambles. I mean, her husband, for those of you who don't know, but you should all know, tell us what's happening with Kevin and Ryan, for those who don't know, right now.
Okay. Well, Laura does not know this, but Kevin has a twin brother.
Right.
Who we all believed was dead.
After a murder spree.
Yes, he was a sociopath and a very dangerous one. A lot of people died, and we believe that he died as well. But apparently, Kevin, who's a psychiatrist, is obsessed with this, trying to cure his brother. So he actually kept his brother in an institution somewhere and tried to bring him back to health. And he hasn't told anyone. So.
Well, we're going to find out soon, hopefully, and Laura's going to find out soon, hopefully. There have been so many great evil twin stories on General Hospital over the years. I remember when I was in high school, it was Grant Putnam and Grant Andrews, and we all called, there was Brian Patrick Clark as Grant, and then Greasy Grant was the one with his hair slicked back. And
Greasy Grant.
Then Tony did Bill Eckert when he wasn't playing Luke. Would you ever want to play Laura's twin that we didn't know about?
No.
Why?
I just don't. Because I like Laura the way she is.
Yeah.
And I already got to do the flip side, the sort of dark side of myself over on Young and the Restless.
Oh, yeah.
Which I had a blast with. It was totally fun. But I don't know. I don't know.
Good. Well, I think Laura's enough. I think we can just be happy with Laura. Looking back, what's been your favorite storyline over all these years on General Hospital?
The first one, the Luke and Laura on the run from Frank Smith, that first summer on the run, there was nothing like it. There were so many surprises and so many beautiful, wonderful moments. And it was truly an exciting time with Gloria Monty saying, This is it, we're changing daytime, this is how we're going to do it, we're pioneers. It was such an exciting time that I remember once we were dismissed. I was underage, so they had to dismiss me within 9 hours.
Oh.
And I didn't want to leave. And Tony didn't either. And we sat in the set and we just kind of hung out. And Gloria came over and she said, "What are you still doing here?" And we just didn't want to go home.
That's a sign of a job you love.
Love.
And why you're here today. Laura's had some amazing returns over the years. You've gone on and you've done primetime projects focused on your business, your family. I remember when she came back in 1983, and there was that huge build-up with Christopher Cross's Think of Laura, and we saw your feet, probably another actress's feet,
it wasn't
for a couple of weeks. Yeah, they were paying you that for your feet.
No.
And then finally there was that moment on the lawn of the governor's mansion where Luke and Laura had married, and he screamed out, "Laura!" You were hiding from the cast signs. What do you remember about shooting that time in your life?
It was exciting. We were on location. I had fear about coming back and whether or not I would be able to make it happen again, because I'd been away for a while. And I also thought it was really interesting And I had not yet understood or explained to myself why, when he sees her, she runs.
Right.
And he caught her.
Right.
Yeah. So there was that whole thing of the Cassadines and, perhaps putting him in danger if
Absolutely.
he found her. Or we never explained why she ran. Never.
Well, I think they did because he was going to kill Leslie and everybody. The Cassadines were going to kill everybody that you loved if you revealed yourself.
All right.
Yeah, no, they were on the ball. They explained it. I remember that well. And then, of course, I mean, my gosh, the other huge return, it was this time of year. It was the fall. We caught up with Luke and Laura, and we met Lucky in their diner. The Triple L exploded, and then you ended up in a helicopter with the carpet bag. And what do you remember about shooting that return?
I remember how high the production value was, which was, I don't think, ever been done before on a soap. Is certainly the highest production value that I've ever experienced on a soap. And they did it like a nighttime shoot. It was so professional, so well done. And I loved the whole thing of them parachuting into Port Charles. I love that.
So
I love
fun.
the plane thing because I'm afraid of heights.
You
I
are.
was so afraid. So it was so much fun for me to play that moment of her not believing we're going to do this. He's teasing me. And then we're doing this. And then her terror.
Parachuting.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
I remember that so well. That was amazing. Well, so like I mentioned, it was that moment of reunion on the governor's mansion lawn. And now there's a chance, the mayor's mansion, forgive me. Now there's a chance that you may be moving in to that mayor's mansion. Possibility. We'll see how the election turns out.
Well, she has been in there before, She was there as First Lady.
Yes.
Because Luke was.
That's right.
Right? Remember that? So she has been there as First Lady. I remember shooting scenes where she had to go do First Lady things and she wasn't very good at it.
Like what? What did she have to do? Do you remember?
That she was surprised that they surprised her with having to get up and give a speech. She thought she was just attending a ladies' luncheon, but in fact she was the keynote speaker. And that was fun to do.
Yeah. Well, but now this time, though, not First Lady, that you could potentially be the mayor running Port Charles, trying to clean up the mob. Who knows what she will focus on first. I mean, she's focusing on the institution now and patient reform. Why do you think that Port Charles could benefit from Laura as mayor?
Because just the way Laura fights to protect her children, she would fight to protect the people of Port Charles and her hometown. I think it makes sense at this point in her life, or really anyone in their 50s is sort of like, well, I've done the big things of life. I've got my home. I made my career. I raised my children. They went through college. The big things of life are done there. What do I do? And I think it's natural to go into wanting to give something back to society. So I think it's the perfect time in her life, and home and community is incredibly important to her because think of how she was bounced back and forth between those two families. There's nothing more important to her than that.
Wow. So you know the answer, obviously. So we're going to have to wait and find out what happens with the voting. But get out there and vote. Laura Collins for mayor. How fun is it working with John Lindstrom, being paired with him?
It's lovely. It's an absolute pleasure. One, he's a wonderful actor. Two, he's funny and lovely to be around. And three, I trust him. He's very much a team player as an actor, and not all actors are. Some of them are very motivated into making the scene about themselves. He's not. It's a dance. He really wants to, and Tony was that way. So to have that kind of experience again is so nice, that you're a team.
Well, a lot of the scenes now that you're doing, you're getting into Ferncliff, and is it bringing back memories of when Laura was institutionalized and she went through that very traumatic time in her life? Yes.
Well, interestingly, somebody just brought that up to me, one of the fans, that it should have been harder for Laura to go into Ferncliff. And that really wasn't in the writing this time. But then I felt a bit bad, like, should I have pushed for that? Should I have made that happen? But they wrote it that she goes in strong. She goes in to conquer it.
Well, John's doing he's doing an amazing job of playing the two different characters, Ryan and Kevin. And he has a lot of Port Charles fooled, but Laura's a little harder to fool. She's sensing something's not quite right. And I want to ask you about that. Was that something that you had hoped would happen, or how do you feel about Laura not being totally duped by the situation?
Oh, yeah. No, I don't want her to be completely duped by it because, like I said, I think she's a survivor and she'd have very strong instincts. She'd know when something was off. So, yeah, that's been a hard thing to do well.
Right.
To not see it, and she is afraid, but she's absolutely no reason to believe it would be Ryan because everyone knows that he died.
That's right.
So she would go there. But I think she's thinking now that there's something wrong with him, that he's had some sort of a breakdown.
What is she picking up on? What little nuances has she picked up on that aren't quite right?
He doesn't have the empathy. Kevin is so filled with empathy, and this guy isn't.
That's right.
It's weird.
Well, Laura has gone from one man to another over the years trying to find happiness. You have had one of the most amazing long marriages in real life. How long have you and Jonathan been married?
30 years.
30 years. Incredible. 2 children, 2 wonderful children.
Beautiful kids.
Now, if all of a sudden, if you came home and Jonathan had been switched with his evil twin.
Oh, I know immediately.
How would you know?
I know because Jonathan, first of all, is the nicest guy in the world. I mean, he gets along with everybody. He doesn't stay angry actually, he never gets angry. Mm-hmm. He's just not an angry person. And he's funny, and he's light. I think it'd be real tough for an evil twin to pull that off.
No fooling you. I remember, I think maybe the first time I ever met you, the first interview we did was with Jonathan, and we were talking about kind of how the soap opera fan base is just as enthusiastic as the sci-fi fan base. Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit about that, how you two both have these amazing followings. They follow you from project to project, mm-hmm. that passion when it comes to those two genres.
Yes, we feel very blessed, and it's kind of amazing to have it in the same family. Usually one actor will have it and the other one no. So, we just feel incredibly lucky. And there's actually quite a bit of crossover between the daytime audience and the sci-fi. Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I really don't. But he will go to his events and they'll say, "Oh, say hello to your wife, and what's going to tell her she should stay away from that husband."
Well, thinking about it, there's been a fair share of sci-fi here in Port Charles over the years.
Yes.
You were the first to kick it off, really, with the Weather Machine, the Cassidines.
Yeah, and I thought we'd gone way too far with that story.
Oh, yeah, people won't buy that. People won't they loved it. It became a phenomenon. What do you remember about, I remember actually, it was 81, I think, when Luke and Laura went over to the island, and Princess Diana and Charles were getting married at the time. There was that hype. They incorporated that into the storyline. What did you think when you first saw how the set designers had created that island set, the Cassidine Island?
That was amazing. It wasn't a set. It was a whole other studio. They literally moved in the dirt and the waterfall, and they built an island. It was huge. It was a huge set. Oh. And trees, and it was amazing. And then I liked the monkey.
Oh my gosh, there was that monkey. I remember that.
I loved the monkey. That was the coolest. I was a kid. I thought, that's the coolest thing ever to work with this monkey.
That was so cool. I remember those episodes so well. So we talked about the Cassidine. So my goodness, they just won't leave you alone.
I know.
How do you feel about that family that has destroyed Laura's happiness over and over and over again? It's created great scenes for you, great drama. But what do the Cassidines mean to Laura?
Well, I think they can bring out her dark side now like nobody else can. They're terrifying people for her. They captured her. Mm. They stopped her life. And then there are people in the Cassidine family who she loves, like her son.
Yeah.
So Laura is a Cassidine, or was a Cassidine for a period of time. So she knows quite a bit about this family. They don't really play that for me that often, which is a shame because she's been on the inside. She knows.
That's right. So. She lived in Windermere for quite a while. I remember her portrait there on the island. Well, the current Cassidine, James Patrick Stewart, I think we've all picked up on. There's a real chemistry when you share the screen with him. Mm-hmm. Tell me about James. Tell me about Valentine and Laura. What do you think is going on there? What could happen there? And tell me a little bit about James.
Mm-hmm. James is a fabulous actor. we'd been friends for years. So
You had?
yes,
How?
we worked together on All My Children,
Oh.
and he met my husband, and we'd been out to dinner a couple of times. He's just a really lovely man, and he's a really good actor. So we have a nice connection to each other, and yeah, that what is the word I'm looking for? That chemistry is definitely there.
There's a little dance there as well, it seems like, between you and James. Well, I want to ask you about some of the other sparring partners that Laura's had over the years, because it's been so much fun. The first one, I think, really was probably Bobby Spencer, Jackie Zeman.
Years ago.
Tell me what you remember about that.
I remember just feeling like I was intimidated by Jackie because she was older than me, and I felt she was better than me. And again, like at that age, all I really wanted to do was keep up with everybody.
Sure.
Or it really was more like, you're not going to show me up. That was definitely my attitude back then.
And, I mean, she was protecting her brother. She's like, who is this guy? She just didn't trust Laura. Mm-hmm. It was fun, though, to watch. It really kind of...
Do you remember that Luke and Bobby rigged Laura's car so that she'd go over the cliff, and she got in an accident and lost her spleen?
Oh,
do you remember
lost
that?
her spleen. That's even before me, I think. I do not.
Really?
I probably came in right after that. Wow.
That happened.
She's been spleenless all these years. I never knew. So no donating a spleen to anybody in the family. Jane Elliott, Tracy. They love the same man. And when you guys were on screen together, it was really interesting to watch. Tell me about those Tracy Laura scenes.
Well, first of all, Jane is a good friend, and in my opinion, the best actress to ever have graced daytime. Mm-hmm. I really believe that. She's just amazing. I miss her terribly here on the show. I still see her, for lunch and whatnot, but I miss the character, and I'm sure that the audience does too. So, and with her, it's just, I want to try to at least come up to her level when I'm working with her.
I think you're there.
Oh,
I think you're there.
Sweet.
What did you think of Tracy and Luke as a couple?
What an unlikely couple.
Two different worlds.
Two different worlds, yeah. But it worked. I saw some of their stuff when it was just the two of them, and they were pretty cute together. I loved that Tracy could give Luke the business, you know what I mean? In a way that Laura never could. He just, but she could really give him a hard time, and I kind of enjoyed that.
Seeing him taking down a couple pegs.
I kind of enjoyed that, yeah.
What about Lucy Coe and Laura? I mean, because,
right.
There's a sharing of affection for the same man.
Yeah, I think there was a friendship there. I think Laura tolerates Lucy, basically, because she's a little silly for Laura.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But Nurse's Ball, it's always fun to see, the insanity that happens there. Well, and then lastly, I want to ask about, my gosh, Helena Cassadine won't die. She's always lurking, wanting to take you down. Talk about Constance Towers and what you appreciate about her.
Another amazing actress.
Amazing.
Unbelievably prepared to come to work. When she has this thing that she does when she switches into, she's hating Laura, and there's this thing that sort of switches in her eyes, and when she does it, I don't know how she did it or what she was thinking, but there was something that would just switch in her eyes, and it was terrifying. Yeah.
Well, it's something that really is the heart of General Hospital for the families. And it's been wonderful following the people who've come in and out of Laura's life over the years. I mean, Denise Alexander, somebody that I adore. We got to do a panel. You did a online soap opera, Beautiful, I think. Was that what it was with her?
I've forgotten the name.
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
Yes, we did a panel with that. And now she's a grandmother to all these wonderful, wonderful children. Tell me about the new generation that's following in Laura's footsteps.
Well, I'm thinking mostly of my kids that, I wish that they would have Laura go visit Lucky, at least from time to time, because he's barely even mentioned now. It's so sad not to have Tyler around anymore. And, I think her relationship with her daughter is the closest. The kids, I don't know if they're going to, eventually I think they will grow them up a little bit, and we'll get the teenagers that are always so good to play on the show. I adore having Nicholas Bechtel as my little grandson. He brings so much happiness
And there's a cute little relationship with
adorable.
those of you.
Love him, and he's so smart. And then sometimes he has these moments of utter wisdom. It's like out of the mouths of babes moments where you're just like, okay, I'll go home now.
So you're learning from him.
Yes.
Yes, you're picking his brain. So let's, I want to actually take a moment to bring, is our special guest here? Is he around?
There he is.
There he is. There's, as much as we all love Jeannie, there's somebody who adores Jeannie and Laura more than anyone, and that is General Hospital's executive producer, Frank Valentini.
Hi, everybody.
Frank, thank you for joining us. I know you're a little busy running this show here.
Yes, we got big things going on in the studio, but I'm happy to pop in for a few minutes and say hi to everybody and welcome back Jeannie and welcome you. So thank you for joining us.
And I want to thank you for being my buddy, and you've always been in my corner, and I'm thrilled to be back on the show, and I thank you, and I thank ABC. And I wanted everybody to have a chance to see you and meet you in person and know what a nice guy you are.
Well, it's been so much fun, and I know the fans are really enjoying the story, and there's tons more to come.
Well, Frank, I know how much you adore this lady. Tell me what she brings to this studio and what Laura brings to General Hospital.
Well, aside from her incredible acting talent, she brings the history of this very multi-layered character that the audience has grown with and experienced for many, many years. And they love to see how she interacts with her family. I love her relationship with John Lindstrom, with Kevin, and with Spencer, and with Lulu. And she has, more family out there in the, in the rest of the world. Lucky son, I don't know where Lucky is right now, but Lucky's someplace. Mm-hmm. And she's such an important part of the show, and she brings a tremendous amount of heart to the show, which I think is really important. And I know that as much as we like to do thrills and spills and excitement and craziness, what most of the fans love is the heart that I think we bring and we try to bring to each and every episode.
I feel like Laura is just the mother of Port Charles. She's that maternal instinct. She just kind of is our protector, it feels like. Things are better when Laura's with us.
Oh, thank you. You guys.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that's true, and I think as you see this story unfold, it will show parts of the character that we haven't seen in a while, and parts of the audience I think will really respond well to.
Well, stick around, because there's a couple fan questions that I wanted to ask, and you can weigh in as well. Somebody wants to know, this is Betsy, it's Betsy with a 3 instead of an E. She wants to know, what do you think the fallout will be when Laura finds out Kevin is really Ryan, and that her husband has been keeping a secret from her? Mm-hmm. Once it's exposed, what will the fallout be?
I think, first of all, there'll be this tremendous relief and understanding of what's been wrong, and a shock, obviously. And then ultimately, a little later on, I think she'll be hurt that he was capable of keeping something from her. I think she'd be hurt, maybe angry, I don't know.
Would this change her as a person in terms of trust moving forward?
Trust is a huge issue, going back to the switched at birth story. Going back to back to that story. Trust is hard for her. She doesn't like these surprises. She wants to know that you are who you are, because she didn't know that as a child. And she thought you were mom, and you weren't.
And the fallout when this whole secret is exposed. What can you?
I think it's huge, and I also think it will give us more story in the future, because for Kevin to have kept this secret from Laura, when, as the audience knows, because they're very astute about stuff like this, Kevin was going to Seattle to visit his brother. That's what he was doing in Seattle, and then eventually he brought his brother to Port Charles and put him in Ferncliff. So, and even before he met Laura, he knew that Ryan was alive. So to not tell her, that's a really big deal. That's a really big deal. And it erodes the trust that they have in their relationship. And also, I think one of the things that Laura loved about Kevin was that he was a straight shooter. He wasn't a little shifty like Luke can sometimes color outside of the lines, and Scotty was a little bit fast and loose with things. But Kevin always presented himself as a real straight shooter, so for him to do that,
stability, I think it was real stability.
Absolutely.
Well, General Hospital is always fun to watch, but it seems like November is especially a fun month to watch. November sweeps. There's a lot happening. Can you give us just a little kind of preview of why we have to watch every single day this month? And
well, all I can tell you is it's been really fun for us to shoot these episodes, and there's a couple of very particularly special days, but the month kicks off today, obviously, on November 1st, with a very big surprise, and I think everybody will be really excited to see it.
Well, and the setup is, Laura is just really days away from the election. She's doing everything she can to get campaign votes. She's throwing a huge Halloween party for Port Charles. People are assembling. I saw Felicia. It looks like Mac is back. Love Mac. There's going to be some carnival games. And it's kind of been teased that something a little scary might be happening.
It is Halloween.
Well, it is Halloween, yeah. So, and it's kind of the promos have been kind of saying that there's going to be a big reveal. What do you want to tease about today's episode?
I think the audience will find out part of what Kevin's motivation is and how Kevin's going to try and cover some of his tracks at this point.
Ryan is.
Ryan.
Yes, even you were fooled.
Even I get fooled.
Well, this has been absolutely incredible. Jeannie, just take a moment really to, talk to your fans who adore you, and just take a moment to tell them what you'd like to say to them.
Thank you for all your support. I was overwhelmed and surprised, and in a really wonderful way, it filled up my heart. I felt the love, and that really, it's an amazing gift, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I will do my best to deliver nice material for you and do a good job with the nice material you've given me. And,
you've got great story.
Yes, we do, and I thank you, my friend. I thank you.
You're so welcome.
Yeah, you said you have story mapped out for at least a year for Laura. Some really cool stuff planned out for quite a while.
Yeah, and what's interesting about planning out story that far in advance is that when you see something on the screen, or if we see something in taping that's really exciting, we add that and we sort of enrich the story with what the actors and what the directors and producers bring on a day-to-day basis.
Well, I know how secretive you are with storylines, so I won't press you any more than you have, but you have kindly given us a gift. We get to see just a little tidbit of today's episode. You're going to get a little taste now, but make sure you watch, because you're not going to want to miss what happens on today's General Hospital. Thank you, Jeannie. Thank you, Frank.
Thanks,
Happy Halloween. Enjoy your holiday season, guys. Have a look at what's coming up today.
You're really leaving? It's like we're ships that pass in the night.
I know, but I'm certain you'll give Port Charles a night to remember.